Santiago,
But
very, very good to have you on here, sir.
no,
Yeah,
it's my pleasure.
I just said this not even a minute ago before we got started here, but there's a lot of live performances of your music with and please tell me if I'm pronouncing this correctly. Is it I was saying BALTHVS. Is that okay?
Is that how we say it in Spanish? But when we talk to American people, it's like BALTHVS. Like
BALTHVS.
instead the V is a
Hmm.
U, right? So if it's English, you would say like BALTHVS.
BALTHVS. Okay. All
Yep,
right. Well,
BALTHVS.
thank you for I'm glad we got that out of the way first thing here. That's good.
Thank you.
But there is a lot of BALTHVS uh live kind of videos out there, and I really, really, really like it, man. It's amazing. I love your music.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, your percussion is fantastic. It really cuts through, and it's so interesting. For those who don't know, it's a three piece, but
Yes,
there's
it
a
is.
lot of sound within those three pieces, and I think it's really great to see these kind of I feel like I've been seeing a lot more three-piece bands lately producing a lot of great sounds, and I think that's really, really good. So I appreciate you being a part of it.
No, man.
Where did the name though, Balthus, where did that come from?
That's from a French painter from the 19th century. He's called Balthazar, and the leader of the band, the guitar player, he's called Balthazar too. So it's kind of referring to him, but at the same time, he's such a good painter. And there's a couple of his artwork right here in Bogota, like in a museum right here. So we take that from that painter.
I like it.
Yep.
Were you familiar with his paintings before joining this band?
I wasn't, like I, I have heard the name before because I went to art school. Like I take a couple of classes in art school, and I've heard about Balthus, but it's like old paintings that I don't relate that much, but but the guitar player does, and he really dig that, and it's good at the end of the day. It's like good paintings.
Good, good. I mean, as long as you're saying they're good, then I'm gonna trust you. I haven't seen these paintings, but I'll take your word for it. They're good.
Yes, they're
All
good.
right, all right. That's it. That's final. Nobody's gonna challenge you on that. When was this band formed? When was the origin of this?
So we started. I mean, they started before that I was in the band. So they started the bass player Joanna and the guitar player Balthazar. They started in 2019, the last 2 months of 2019, and they started to record some things. And then the pandemic comes to Colombia, and they went to this farm, and they started to record like the whole first album that is called Macrocosm. And they have recorded like 7 songs, and then they talked to me like in June of 2020, and I have played before with them. So Baltasar called me like, "Hey, I have this band, and I have already like listened to their music," and and he and he says to me like, "Do you want to join this band?" And I was like, "Man, for sure. I mean, you're doing so good things. I really love the vibes," and we started to play together like in June in 2020.
Okay, good
And
deal.
yeah, that's when we all come together.
Hmm. How did you initially meet them? How did that first kind of show or shows that you played with them happen? How did you guys cross
Yeah.
paths?
So that was like I know Baltasar like from 2017, 16 maybe. So I had a band, a local band right from Bogota, and he had his own band, and we came together to this whole big venue. Like it's a really big venue, iconic one. It's La Media Torta,
Mm.
and we played together in that venue. And I saw his band, and I was like, man, these guys have like this Santana feeling, like Grateful Dead feeling, and I was like maybe in a ska and reggae band, and he talked to me like, "Hey, I like your drumming," and I was like, "Man, I like your band a lot," and we just came together and started play together, and we played together like 2 years, and in those 2 years we had a gig with Joanna. He used to play like Andean music, like with a charango, that is a tiny, tiny guitar, like 10 strings guitar, but like this size, not this size, it's not that big. And he played with us, and we met her, and we just dig our vibes, and we started to she actually was the sound engineer from a lot of our gigs, and then the band that where we are with Balthazar, like this band is called Aguirre Cósmico. You can search in YouTube, and there's a lot of old recordings from that band. And we stopped playing like in 2019, no, 2018, sorry. And then they get together, started this new band, BALTHVS, and then they called me. So that's pretty much the history of this meetings, you know?
Yeah. How did you feel when you got that call? Like, hey, why don't you come on into the band? How did you feel when they asked
Man,
you?
that was crazy before, because I was telling to you like I'm a sociologist, and in 2020 I graduate from the university, and music has been always like in my life, but like as a hobby, like I was like thinking in doing sociology in Colombia, because there's a lot of things you can do with sociology here. um and music was always kind of aside. I mean, I really love music, and I when I commit with something, like I'm very deep into that, but it was like not my main objective. So then the pandemic comes, and I was like, man, music, it's been in my life all of my life, like all of these years, and I haven't take that care to the music, like really care about it, like uh get good, like really get disciplined at my instrument, and started to study new things. So I take this chance when the pandemic comes, like we couldn't do pretty much anything, and I started to play, and then they called me, and I was like, man, I'm just I'm just fit, like I'm exercising for this. I'm really getting for this, so this is my chance. And I took it, and it's been a really good trip since that moment, like, and I'm feeling right now like very grateful to them, and to me actually, to have, because I say yes, like, because I give
Mm.
myself the chance to get involved in music, and not in anything else, like just music, like deep,
Right.
deep.
Right. When did you start playing music? Has it always been percussion?
I mean, I started to play guitar the first time, and I've always like when I compose music, it's always the guitar, the first one, like it's harmonics and melodies and all that stuff. It's like I understand it because of the guitar. But when I was like 14, I started to study like in a music school, not as university kind of one, like after school kind of thing. And I do 1 year of both guitar and drums, and I chose the drums because they were amazing, because they were good, but I didn't know that that was going to have so much impact in my life later, you know, like, and um and I started to play in bands, and they always need a drummer instead of a guitar player. And I was like, okay, I can do drums, you know? And I started to do it like that, and I started to fucking dig it, man. It's like I love it. And when I was like 19 years old, I realized like, man, this is my place. It's not playing guitar. It's like I feel so comfortable right here. I really want to explore these sounds, this, you know, like, and that was pretty much it. Like, it wasn't like at the first time my election, but it came to me and it talked to me like you have to do this, and and I just hear the call, you know.
So you'd had some experience playing percussion with some other kind of bands,
Hmm.
and then you said 2020 is, or sorry, 2021 is when you kind of joined the band.
2020.
2020. And did you take to it immediately? Did you understand like what was needed to be done with this band, or did it kind of take some time to kind of feel out your position in it?
That's a good question, man. I
Thank you, sir.
mean, because I used to play in a punk rock band, so
So
I was
similar, very
loud.
similar, very similar,
Not at all. You know, like no way.
very similar genres. I understand. Yeah, yeah.
Then I was loud. I was really loud, and now I realize that I haven't had that much care about technique in my drumming, you know, like at those times. Like I was just doing like this, like just waving my arms, my whole arm, you know, like you're not supposed to be doing that because you can get hurt. But um I came to this band and they were soft, really soft playing, like not only the voice but the guitar and the bass, they were soft. And I was like so loud, and it was the first months, it was hard for me like to get in the vibe, you know, like started to play like softer, like start to play like dynamics, and and it's been a how do you say that in English? Like when you have, well, it's been hard for me, like because I was from this context like where you just playing like loud and you're not caring about technique, and I was getting hard. My arms were full of tiny, like like when you play so loud, you get this little things in your fingers.
Like blisters and whatnot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
blisters.
Mhm.
That's the word. And
Calluses.
yeah, and I started to realize like you shouldn't be playing like that, and you can play that loud without hurting yourself. And because I haven't had like a lot of musical instruction, like not that much teachers in my life. It's been just one that I remember that really I can say I can say thanks to her because she was such a good teacher. But it was just like 1 year of my life, and I've been playing drums like a lot, like 13 years now. And and it's crazy that in 2020 I started to realize like technique is important, and you can get beyond your expectations, like taking care about studying techniques and studying another drummers and that kind of thing. And I believe like getting in this band like uh warns me about this, like this is important, like take care about technique.
Right. Would you have had that realization eventually, do you think, if you even hadn't even joined the band?
Maybe, but it wouldn't be so fast, you know? because
So
it's been,
it was a swift, like a hey, oh, I gotta
yeah,
change.
yeah, it was like life changer because I was like, okay, I'm doing this and I'm doing this like disciplined, but I'm not playing with anyone, you know. And at the time when you started play with another people, you have to hear what they're playing and start to talk in musical terms, and they were talking softer than me. I was like yelling and they were like whispering, and I was like, shit, man, I have to whisper too. and and it's been life changer for me, and I appreciate that from the both of them. Like they both inspired me to
Mhm.
get this like goal in my life.
Right. So do you feel like you will continue to whisper in a sense? If you were to join another band later on, do you think that that would still be a part of your playing or
Man,
speaking?
that's crazy. That's crazy because we went to the United States like 3 weeks ago. We were there in Colorado and we played in Denver with this band, the Fury, the Fury Desert. And they're they have their own material, their own songs, but the when we play together, they play just like covers from the Grateful Dead. And the drummer of them, he hasn't he couldn't make it to the sound check, so they asked me for the sound check for them, and they keep saying like, man, but you play soft, you play really soft. I mean, our drummer will be playing louder, and I was like, it's kind of my style now, like. And I appreciate that because it's not that common, like not a lot of drummers played soft, and and it's really hard to play soft.
It's supposed to be louder.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes.
It's a difficult line to walk.
Yes, it is. It's been, but now I feel like it's my line, like, and I can grow from this line, from this
Mhm.
path
Mhm.
that has been given to me somehow.
Right. Now, did you explain to him, "Hey, I used to shout. I wasn't always
Yes.
whispering."
Yes. Yes, man. And I see at the old records I have, like when I was in other bands, like playing drums, and nowadays I see that and I'm like, man, it's been a it's been a long path, from getting to this point I'm right now, because I used to play like I just tell you like this gesture in my arms is not it's not good.
No, it's not good. It's a great gesture.
Yeah.
I fully endorse that. Yeah, 100%. That's good. Has your techniques of playing guitar changed as well over the course of these years that you've been playing the instrument?
I mean, oh, it's crazy because it I don't put that much of attention to my guitar playing, like um it's been with me like so many years. I started to play when I was like 10 years old. For sure, I think I have gone through a lot of new techniques, but right now, I think I'm stuck like in my skills of playing guitar. I'm stuck, and I feel comfortable in that point because I don't want to be a guitar player. I just want to have the ability, like to record some guitars to play my drums on those guitars, and maybe ask a real guitar player to do the part instead of me. But I think I'm just good enough, and for what I need for my needs.
Right, right. Did you feel like every woman's kind of coming from a different background within music for Balthus? Was it kind of everybody's coming from different angles or
Yes. Yes, I mean, the guitar player, um he's a really he's I mean, there's just two people in Colombia that really they're how do you call that? The deadheads.
Hmm.
Just two people I know in all of my country, because the dead, they're just so well known in the United States, but in Latin America, like nobody knows about the Grateful Dead and all of the movement behind that. And he's one of those two people I know. And now when I go on tour to the United States and I see how important it is to the musical history of the country, I see I think to myself like, man, it's crazy. It's crazy for me just to get to know this at this age, like
Hmm.
it's crazy.
How would do you turn them on every once in a while to listen to them when you're, doing whatever you're doing?
No, I don't. I don't. Because well, I believe that I have a kind of responsibility, like, because I used to be like this kind of people that went to local concerts, like from local bands, and I used to say like, oh, they're not that good as the big musical scene, and nowadays I regret about that, because when I was young there was a lot of good music that was being playing here in Colombia, and that I had the chance to see, and I didn't take the effort to go beyond like the critical view and simplistic view of, oh, you're just rich people doing things, like so naive, I guess. And nowadays I'm just I'm just seeing the same thing. Like there's a lot of good music like growing out in here, and I just want to put my attention onto this because it's beautiful, and I believe like people from all over the world should be listening to this.
Hmm.
And that's my bet. Like whenever I have the chance to show anyone like new music or my recommendations, it's like Colombian bands and local ones and small ones, and not the other things that I know that I do like the Grateful Dead. Now I love them. It's like we play a cover of them, and it's like it's such a beautiful song, bird song, and it's such beautiful song, and we have had like this moments with the Grateful Dead, but that's my bet, like sharing Colombian music, but not like the big music from Colombia, like Shakira and Karol G and all of this mainstream things, but local things.
It's good. Yeah. Smaller
Mm-hmm.
acts.
Yep.
Are there musicians and artists that have influenced the way that you make music that you kind of don't look towards anymore?
Yes. But I think my my answer to this will be kind of disappointing, because what I would say is like those musicians that had changed my view about music in my life, it's been my friends, basically. Like
That's by the way, that's
um
not a disappointing answer. I really like that answer though. It's
all
it's, it's
right,
good.
thank
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
appreciate it.
It's a good
uh,
answer.
I said it's disappointing because a lot of times when people talk about influence, they talk about big musicians and a lot of music history that's happening, and appreciate that. And although that really have a mark on me, like I really started to play, the first instrument I started to play that was guitar because of a friend. And I started to play the drums because my friends were having bands and they were inviting me to play in those bands, you know. And and it's been like that since I I have the chance to play anything, you know, like. And my style have changed because of that too. Not because of I started to play to listen to some bands, because and it was pretty much because I started to play in a band that have this unique sound, and I have to fit this sound, and uh, and I have the ability to do it, and I would love to do it, you know, like. and and those are my masters, my friends, like.
That's great that you're in a community that kind of you push each other. I mean,
Yep.
I'm sure that what you're doing is influencing them, and
Yep.
it's great. That's is really good. I like the answer. It's not disappointing.
Thank
It's
you.
great.
Thank
You know, I've read about this the genres of this band,
you.
the
All right.
your BALTHVS band, and it what I've read was that it's a combination of Colombian psych, funk, and world music. Now, was that ever in your repertoire at all before joining this band?
Yes, yes, because that was the goal from the beginning. Like when they started the band, it was like pretty much it. Like, let's let's make some music that's psychedelic, that's funky, like in the groove of the music, and that is not like something like just a unique genre. Instead of like trying to search all over the world like melodies and harmonies and rhythms and bring it here, you know, like. And of course we have our Colombian thing, our Latin thing, and uh, and that's pretty much that mix, you know, like psychedelic funk, disco, Colombian, and world music.
I mean, it's a good mix.
Yeah, yeah, and it's fun to play that because you do not get bored, you know, like, because you have to go like from some Eastern kind of rhythm, then you come back to like a Latin rhythm, and then you go to a backbeat, like very funky, and then you go to surf, and then you go to, man, it's just such a bunch of musics together in just one show. And for me, that's like the the greatest thing about playing live, like not just playing one thing, one genre, instead of a lot of things and a
Like
lot of vibes and a lot of moods.
vibes and moods. I like it.
Hmm.
Uh, has being able to pull from all these different sounds and whatnot and kind of combining this, did that help with the transition of this major transition that you were making in terms of percussion joining this band? Was it easier to kind of be like, okay, this is a little bit hard for me, but I could balance it with this and bring all this stuff together? Did that help at all?
Man, it was it was a pain in the ass at at the beginning, you know, like it was hard for me because it was like, hey, can you do like a backbeat groove with a shaker in your hand? And I was like, just so used to going like s- punk rock songs and straight things,
But all
and then
punk rock songs
shaker in
had
my hand.
all good punk rock songs though have shakers. Obviously, we all know this. This is a very a
For sure,
huge
man.
staple. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I was pushed to like tell to my brain like you have to do new things, and you have to take the ability you have to play a lot of instrument, like at least four instruments at the same time. But instead of the hi-hat or the toms or the snare, you have to deal with another things. And there was such a good school. Like I said, my teachers are my friends, and Balthazar, he's been like the first three albums they were produced by him. So he did this drum parts, and for me it was like, all right, I have to do this. How I'm going to do it? Like I have to listen. Okay, there's a shaker. Can I play a shaker and a hi-hat at the same time? Or like kind of evolve in my drum, and it was, uh, for me it's like, man, it's been so good because it it has it had expand my mind in terms of drumming, and in terms of the drum set and the kind of instruments I want to play in the drum set.
Right, right. Was or is playing these the kind of the older songs that you did not have any part in writing. Did you ever manipulate the sound into something that you're more comfortable playing, or did you try to play it exactly the way that it was recorded?
mm, I mean, I think it's the both of us. Like, I wanted to play exact the same at the first time,
Mhm.
but I wanted to like put my essence on it, like,
Right, you it kind of mixing both of them
yeah,
together,
yeah, because
doing what is recorded, but with your essence within it.
yeah, that's it.
Was that a difficult part as well? Kind of trying to find that balance as well.
Yeah, for sure, because he has like, I mean, he had like the drum part in his head, and I started to play, and he was like, it's another feel, and I was like, but this is the feel I feel. And but it was all about, like, like, given and taken, and mm, it was a hard process at the beginning, but then we started to realize that the clues that we both has, like, I don't know, like I started to understand what he wanted to be like the feel of the song, and how was I able to put my feeling into that, like,
Mhm.
and it's pretty much that, like, now it's easier, but at the beginning it was hard
Right.
for every one of us.
Yeah, it it seems like bringing another person into it, especially a three-piece group. It's like, okay, well, how you gotta, yeah, you gotta give and take, kind of, adjust
Mhm.
for the new
Yeah.
sound. Did you have any apprehension about kind of when it was time to write new stuff? Were you like, okay, I understand what the vibe is, or did that take some time as well to be like, okay, this is what I think we should do, and this is my idea for that?
So the first three albums, as I said, it was pretty much him. He was always like, okay, I'm doing this new song. What do you think about this? And we used to do a lot of comments, but he was the producer, like,
Hmm.
and there was a couple of songs that they're not possible to play for me, like there's like six drum sounds at the same time, like, and I don't have six arms and feet, like,
Oh, you don't. Okay, okay,
I don't, man. I
I
mean,
thought that you
I
did.
wish I
That
would.
that's on me. I thought that you did. Okay, all right.
I
I
wish.
I understand. I understand.
But he didn't. When he was producing, he didn't. And there was always like this discussion, like, okay, you're composing this drum parts, but you have to take into account that I just have two arms and two legs, and you're doing drum parts that they're not possible, to play. Yeah, unless we have like, how do you say that? Like when you have pre-recorded
A
sounds.
sampler, right? Like a
Yep,
or
yep,
a drum machine,
yep.
perhaps.
A drum
Right.
and
Or another
we
drummer, perhaps, also as well, maybe.
yep.
That's also a fix to that. Yeah.
So we used to have this discussion, and but now we have uh we had the chance this year to record the fourth album, like the three of us working together in a farm near to Bogota, and that was amazing, like everyone was like, okay, I have this idea and let's start with this. And it was such a good good month. It was just a month, and we record 8 songs, and a, it was hard. I mean, in terms of
I could see so. Yeah, I could see why that'd be difficult.
yeah, it was difficult, but it was great at the end of the day. Like the last day we were in that farm and listened to the whole bunch of things we just created in a month. It was like, man, looking each other, like, she it's possible, like it's such a good feeling.
Yeah.
And I wish for the future that we keep doing the next productions in this way, like working the three of us.
Mhm. I think it's a good way to do it. Again,
Yeah.
I think you're on the right track there. Yeah.
Yes.
Uh, Now you are in another band right now, um, as well, correct? And that is in, please correct me if I'm saying this incorrectly, Santa Lucia Funk,
Santa Lucia Funk.
Lucia.
That's it.
When was the origin of that? Did it come before or after?
It was after.
Okay.
So I have these friends from the university in sociology that they were all musicians, but at the same time they were studying sociology. And we used to talk a lot, like, hey, let's get together, do something, and let's get together and do something. And the years were running by, and suddenly it was like 2021 when this friend and I, the guitar player of Santa Lucia, that's called Sergio, a very good friend of mine, and we said like, man, let's fucking do it. Let's stop talking about it and do it, you know. And I was playing my drums in an auntie's house. It was not a house; it was an apartment, the fifth floor of an apartment, and the police came like, "Hey, your neighborhoods, they're just so pissed off of you, so you gotta live here." So I talked to this friend like, "Man, I have to move my drums to another place." And he was like, "I have this huge garage. You can bring it here and we can record something." So we started like that way, and then a lot of another friends, they came to join the process of making new music. and and it was a year. It was harder because none of us were like trying to think this about, like, in the way of this is a work, like a job. Instead, it was like a hobby kind of thing. So we were taking our time and we were not rushing at all. And it was like a year recording and mixing and mastering. And then we started to release the songs. But as I said, it was not like a job. So we didn't put that attention to releasing songs that is very important nowadays and always, I believe, like, like taking the effort to get to the people that loves this kind of music. But it was such a cool part of my life, like
Yeah.
it's beautiful, like making music with my friends. And
And finally getting to do it after talking about it and talking about it,
yeah,
huh? Yeah.
yes, for sure.
I'm sure that factored into it. That's awesome.
Yes.
Did you bring the sensibility of, okay, I'm kind of in this more, as we talked about before, whisper kind of era, if you will, with percussion? Did you bring that into the fold of this new band, like where you were coming from with
Yeah.
Balthus?
Yes. Yes. I mean, I took a couple of rhythms of BALTHVS songs, and I was and I was like, man, this rhythm is so good for this part, you know. And so yeah, for sure that was like my source of inspiration, like in certain songs. It was BALTHVS, like because of the funky kind of vibe and all of that stuff, and because my friends, they were funky too, so like they were searching for this groove, this kind of groove, and I was like, man, I'm in a band that is searching for this too, you know, like so yeah, it was pretty much an influence at that
Right.
moment.
Do you think we're seeing a resurgence or a new era
Mm.
of musicians and artists and bands that are inspired by funk and funk type music?
Yes, man. I mean, I believe that funk, since it started to be on Earth, it's never been gone. You know, like you can see it in the mainstream pop singers. They're all of them. They have funky. Uh, it's it can be a funky bass line, a funky drum part, a funky guitar, but they all need that to make the song groovy. You know, and I believe like there's there's no such a thing as funk to make people feel the groove and feel that 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 gesture you do with your face, like, oh, I like that, you know, like.
Right.
I believe it's not dead. It hasn't been gone in any time, you know, like it's always been there, funk music.
And will it always be here, do you think?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right. All right. Is your writing process for uh both of these bands different, or are they the same, or kind of both?
It's it's quite different. With Balthus, it's always like what kind of mood we are, you know, what we're searching for. Do we want to get sexy? Do we want to get like party? Like what do we want, you know? That's like the first part of it. And as as soon as we answer that question, we try to find the rhythm. So the first part of Balthus song always is going to be the rhythmic part. And we believe like the mood of a song, it's mostly given by the rhythmic part. So and so as long as we have answered that question, we start to write the bass line, and then the guitar. And then if we feel the need of a voice, we put some voice on it. But you know,
It
we're
depends. It
at,
depends on the mood.
yes. And
Right.
it depends on the song, you know, like once you start to create a song, the song becomes a word on itself, and you cannot go against its own rules. You have to like flow with it, you know. And
Right. Right.
that's kind of the process we do on Balthus. And on Santa Lucia, it was pretty much like it can be an old way, a different way, most common way, I would say. And it was like some of the guys was like, I have this riff idea. Dun, 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 dun. Can you give me the groove? Dun, 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 dun. And I was like rehearsing, like doing the music like in that moment, kind of creating it. So in Balthus is like more most like producing kind of view and mindset, like we're producers, the three of us, so kind of on that mindset.
Hmm.
And then Santa Lucia is like, okay, we're musicians and we want to play together, and let's see what happens.
Very nice. Do the ideas that you're bringing to the table for both of these projects, are they usually kind of that you're working on something by yourself and bringing it to the table later on, or is it is it kind of working with other people in that in when you meet together to be like, okay, I have an idea for this and this and this.
No, most of the time is like so I try to go with my mind like on a like if it was like a blank sheet, like there's nothing on it, so let's just focus on what we want. And uh and uh, when I have like drum parts that I've been working on, I have like a huge library of non-released songs that I've produced, you know, and that's where all my ideas that they came just when I'm by myself, they go there. But I try to be in another mindset when I'm playing with another people, you know, like
Hmm.
I don't want to be like, I don't know, I just like, I prefer to flow with what's going on the room we are in. Yes, that's my vibe when putting out ideas with people. It's like what is going on there. Like you have a riff, I can understand the accents you're doing with that riff, and I would put these accents here, you know, and that's my point of view about that.
Do you ever revisit ideas that have gone into that library of stuff you were working on just by yourself and try to
Uh,
pull from that for ideas?
yeah, a couple of times, you know, and with BALTHVS, it's been, you know, when we're on live shows, we have like some songs where we jam. So those ideas came in those moments, you know, like when we're jamming,
Hmm.
most of those ideas. And I like to keep it that way, you know, because it's like the moment I can say, okay, this is what I have to say. And I've been saying this a lot of time ago, you know. This is these are my
I said this two
statements, you
years
know.
ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel when an idea that you've brought to the table and are kind of hashing out finally clicks, finally works? What is that feeling like for you?
Man, it's a beautiful feeling because it's kind of magical, you know, like when that's something so crazy about playing music for me at least is like when you have something on your mind that fits so good with another mind, and that other mind has something to respond and to complement and to expand that feeling. So for me, that's pretty much the meaning of magic happens in, you know, like it's happening, you know, like when you can connect in such a deep way that no words are needed, no I don't know, it's so
It's
magical.
unspoken. It's an
Yeah,
unspoken kind of thing
yeah,
that's going on,
yeah.
otherwise known as magic, aka magic. Right. Got it. What is the best part of making music for you?
uh,
What is your favorite part of making music, rather?
I would say that it had put me in the place to know a lot of new people and a lot of good people, you know, like there's something magical too about music, and is that brings people together and brings people that can relate too much to each other, you know, like they're like you know, like we can talk so easily because we have something in common that is music, and and it's
Also,
and
we're roommates, but besides that,
oh
yes,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Besides of that.
Right. It's a thing that people can really
Yeah,
bond over and connect
yes,
with. Hmm.
connects a lot, and I have had a lot of friends just because of music, you know, and the best friends I have is because of music.
Wow.
Yeah, yep,
So you like it? You like music overall?
yep.
Okay, good to know.
I
Um,
mean, not that much, you know.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's an interest. Yeah, I listen to it every once in a while. How do you feel when you play live? How do you feel when there's an audience and you're all jamming together?
It depends on every show, you know, like there's kind of this movement of energies, like you you came with the first song, and people would is going to respond to that, and the next song is going to be pretty much how do you say that, like influenced about that response of the audience, you know.
Right.
And it's just a game of back and forth, going through this moods and energies, and it's crazy. It's been, I mean, there's times that I get nervous, you know, because people is just so excited, and they're partying and they're drunk and they're like really excited about hearing something, and you're not in that mood, and you have to get to that mood by playing, but you cannot get to that mood in the first song, you know, like you have to climb it, you know.
Right. You can't just turn it on and off.
Yeah. So sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's harder, but it's like communicating in a mystical way somehow.
Otherwise known as magic. I think we just spoke about that. I
Well, yeah.
wish you would have said magic, but instead of mystical. But
I was trying with another word.
I didn't like it. I didn't like the other word. I wanted it to be magic. It's fine though. Moving forward. Have you seen the attendance at shows and the audiences kind of get bigger through these last couple of years of doing it, of being a part of the band?
Yeah. Um, at least in the United States, you know, because we've been focusing our marketing strategies and all efforts to the United States, because our music, although it's well received here, it's not like the kind of music everyone's want to hear, you know, and it's been hard to get like in the local scene and all that stuff, but but rather we have a huge audience in the United States, and we started to tour on the United States like since the last year. On March, the South by Southwest was our first tour, and we did the fourth tour this year, and in the fall, and it's been just growing, you know, like we have our first sold out in Fort Collins, Colorado, and we love that place, man. It's like our first sold out in our careers. You know, it means a lot.
Well,
Like
shout out to Fort
it's a bunch
Collins.
of people like, and they wanted to go there, and we haven't seen any one of them before, you know, and that's just crazy, and
Yeah.
it's crazy, and yes, it's been growing. It's been growing a lot.
So you really like Colorado, his favorite state of the US.
I mean, it was good. It was good. It was good. They treated us so well, man. And there's this thing that we have in Bogota. We have the mountains like on the uh that's the west, no, the east part of the city, the east.
Mhm.
And in Denver and in this area around Denver, they have the mountains on the west, but they're pretty much like Bogota, you know, like you can see the mountains when you're in the city, and a view we haven't had that in the United States before, because we were touring in Texas, that it's just plain earth. It's just, there's no mountains over there, and it felt like kind of home, like, like kind of something you've seen before, and you feel
But it's not quite what you think it is, what it is reminiscent
exactly,
of, right?
exactly.
That's got to be the weirdest feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
What has that been like though, to kind of have your music become bigger in another country?
It's crazy. It's crazy because hmm, it's something you just kind of dream about when you're a child. I mean, I did have those dreams when I was a child. Like, I want to tour. I want to go to stadiums and play in stadiums and that things. But you have to take steps to get there, you know? And now that I'm taking it, I'm just like so grateful that it's possible, and it's possible to meet people through my music, like um because there's a lot of bands that I've seen that they get like, they don't like that much attention of on them after the show, like going down the stage and talking to people and that thing. But I love it because I don't know who they are, what they believe in, what where they from, like, because there's people that go to the shows but they're not from the city actually, but just,
They travel to it
yeah,
to
they
to go
travel to,
see. Yeah.
and that's so crazy, and I really love that part of playing there, that is like getting to know the people that is listening to our music, because they have stories to share, and and I love to hear that those stories, and to share mine too, and to get a moment of, hey, like sharing some words, and the love of music is always there, and I don't know, that's beautiful, and
Absolutely.
it's crazy,
Yeah. Does it feel the way that you thought it would feel, finally reaching this point within music? Were you kind of pretty good on your assessment of how it would make you feel?
not at all. I mean, when you have dreams, you have like this perfect image that is not like shadowed by bad moods and bad things, and what reality implies at the end of the day, like, and when reality comes, and it's been showing me this, it's like, although that's life, there's bad days, and there's things that they're not just as good as you would like to be, but there's so much so much potential that you had, like, you're you're making your dreams true, and you're saying to yourself, like, man, I was dreaming about this like a couple years ago, and now it's happening, and man, I'm just so grateful, you know with life, and with my crew, with my guitar player and my bass player, that I love them. They they have put me here to, like, I just feel grateful. That's the word.
I think that's a perfect word for that. Yeah.
Mm.
I saw that the Spotify streams for the band for 2023 was at 2.9 million streams. That's also just insane. I
It
heard a
is.
lot of it was from Colorado, which is interesting. A
Yeah,
lot, a lot of the state of Colorado. Yeah.
yeah. But in California too, like our big our biggest city in terms of streams is Los Angeles, and we haven't been there, and we're very excited about that, because we we were wondering how would it be to go to one of those big cities we have on streams, because we haven't before Denver, and Denver is our seventh street city, sorry, and
Hey, still top 10, so
yeah,
that's something. Yeah.
and it was
Fort Collins is number
outstanding.
one, correct? Fort Collins
For
is number
sure.
one, I believe. Pretty sure I read that. Okay.
And it did has results, like it was like in Denver, it was not a sold out show, but we played Boulder, Denver, and Fort Collins, that they're all in the same area, like 3 days in a row, and all of those shows were crowded, like, and and it was like, okay, these streams did have some kind of uh they did give you clues to where
There's some
you
validity
should
to it.
go. Yeah.
Hmm. Right. Yeah, that's in insane numbers. That's fantastic.
Yes. Yes.
I was
There.
glad to see that. Let me just tell you that.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Even though I don't reside in Colorado, but I feel their sentiment on how they feel about your music. I like it as well. Yeah. um, what do you want people to experience when they listen to the music that you've been a part of making?
Wow. That's a
I
great
it's
question.
we're reaching the end of the podcast, and that's the kind of an end of the podcast
The
question there.
funny part, hard questions.
Yeah, yeah.
um, I mean, I wish they would feel like the way I feel when I listen to something I really like, and it's like um that kind of connecting with the unspoken things, like that's the beauty of music for me. It's like you have speech in the lyrics, but you have another kind of speech, like in the harmonic part, the melodies and the accents, the dynamics, and that can move you within yourself to another world, you know and that's what I would like to people experience when they're hearing our music, like a trip,
That's a good answer. Um, what keeps you interested in music?
Wow.
I'm sorry,
Well,
these are the heavy ones. I apologize.
this really pushes myself. It's like in one hand I have like my drumming skills, like that the I feel that I would like to really be um I would really love to say whatever the fuck I want on the drums, because I believe that right now I just can say the things that I have been preparing to say, like I've been rehearsing and but I want to get to this point where where I can say whatever I want, and whatever. It's not just a, a thing about the ego, it's more like whatever I want, and it fits the song and it expands the song. mm. And in the other hand, it's like uh music is being, as I just told, connecting me to a lot of people, and I want to keep that moving, like I want to keep understanding music as a social phenomena, and understanding what is going on, how it's possible to make music as a way of living that is not as normal as people would think. It is not normal to live about anything at all, but as long as I'm in music, it's like my part. Mm, I would like to understand it as a whole, uh, as a
As
whole thing,
as
whole
a whole,
world.
as a whole,
Yeah,
yeah.
as a whole. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a great answer. And I think it's a great way to end this. And Santiago, I really, really appreciate you coming on here. Thank you so much, sir. Really, really appreciate it.
No, thank you, Jacob.
Been a pleasure chatting with you.
It's been my pleasure, and nobody cares about drummers, and you do, and
I do
appreciate
because I
that,
play
man.
drums. That's why, yeah.
Shit, yeah, man. Love that. Love that. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on. But before I let you go, I got some promo to do. So uh BALTHVS music is streaming everywhere, wherever people get their music, that's where they can find it, right?
Yep.
Perfect. And people can find the merch at the website, right?
Yes, in our website and in Bandcamp too.
Which is
And
balthus.com is the website.
so it is
Sits
BALTHVS.com.
perfect. And that will be linked below along with the Bandcamp, and that's balthus dot or
Yep.
balthusmusic.bandcamp.com. Yeah, perfect. And that will also be linked below, and people could stay up to date with news and tours and all that good stuff by following you guys on Instagram, right? Is that the best place?
Yes. Yes,
Cool.
it is.
And that's also at Balthus Music on
BALTHVS music.
Instagram.
No,
No underscores. And again, that'll be all linked below. And of course, your other project is all streaming everywhere as well, correct?
yes, it is.
Okay,
Santa Lucia Funk. That's it.
perfect. Perfect. And that's also on Instagram. Is it the best place to keep up to date
Yep.
with everything?
Yes, it is.
Good deal. And that's just straight across. There's no underscores on that either.
Yep.
Okay, good deal. And that's all linked below. And do we have anything else to promote?
No, I don't. I
Okay,
mean, well, I do, because you're from California, right?
I am.
So we're playing in California next year. We're going to be in, that's going to be the last days of March. And we're
Hmm.
playing in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and then we're going to Portland and Seattle. And we're going to be playing in the South by Southwest next year.
And
So,
and then a couple of shows in Colorado as well, or
and we're having one
you
show,
gotta go to
two shows, one in Denver and one in Fort Collins, of
that's what
course.
I wanted to hear.
Yep,
So and that's all starting in March.
yep. That's
Cool.
March
Okay.
2024. Yep.
And all that information will be provided at the in
Through the Instagram
Instagram.
page
Hmm.
and Spotify too. So just keep
So
connected.
yeah, keep an eye on that. Yeah, I'm stoked to hear that. Santiago, thank you so much again, sir. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna stop recording this and I'll talk to you in a minute. All right.
Right.
Cool. Thank you, sir.